Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna have some fighting words. In this video, I want to talk about Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. So, as everybody all knows now, it's official. Both of the boxers have signed their contracts. We still don't have a date yet. However, the good news is they both signed the contract, so it's official. They put pen to paper, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sometime this year. I do believe they're looking at the summertime, which is great. And I think that they're also looking at a foreign country. I'm thinking maybe like Saudi Arabia or someplace like that. Either way, I'm more excited just by the simple fact that they managed to get the contract signed. I know there was a bit of a hiccup and a bit of pushback on both sides. Everybody's trying to get what they want. Very seldom do you see two fighters who are pretty much kind of coming in as A-sides. Anthony Joshua, as you know, is a unified champ, and he has all the belts. He does have one loss in his record to Andy Ruiz. However, he avenged that loss. And then you have Tyson Fury, who's unbeaten. His most notable win would be his win over Deontay Wilder. So when these two come together, I want to break down what I see, because I hear a lot of people saying that, AJ has no chance and this and that. First, I just want to say, I want to give a shout out to Tyson Fury for just dropping all that weight. I've been seeing recent posts of him. He looks like in amazing shape. I don't need to say that about AJ, and you all know he always looks like he's in amazing shape, so we don't even need to go there. But to see Tyson Fury, especially in a recent rut that he's had himself in, he's been, I don't want to use the word stressed out, but I will say that he's been very agitated that this has taken so long to come to fruition. In which case, we're still not there yet. We don't exactly know a location. I'm pretty sure we don't actually have a date. But the biggest hurdle for me is the fact that the contracts are signed. So it's agreed upon that they're going to show up and they're going to meet each other in the ring. When I break this fight down in my head over and over again, there's a part of me that says the pure boxer is going to win, which is naturally Tyson Fury. He's so light on his feet. To be his size, he's so light and fluid on his feet. However, the reason why I'm starting to fall back on that is I have to go back to AJ's most recent fight with Andy Ruiz. Yes, they went all 12 rounds. However, two things that AJ did that really surprised me. One, he stuck to his game plan. He had a game plan where he was going to keep it very simple in terms of technique and what he was going to do in terms of opposition. And he kept it kind of simple in terms of what he was going to do in terms of defense. Defensively, he was going to continue to keep moving and circling. And offensively, he was going to stick to something simple like either a jab or nothing more complicated than a 1-2. Just enough to get his points. And AJ, being the man he is, if he sees you hurt, he will finish you. However, he never really saw Andy like that. He did crack him with a lot of good shots throughout that fight, and Andy Ruiz was really frustrated. By the last round, Andy was roaring AJ on, like, come on, let's fight, let's do this, but it's like a little too late. You should have thought about that in round one. Now, the reason why I bring that up in regards to Tyson Fury is Tyson is also very light on his feet. Tyson, for his size, moves amazingly. You're just not going to see a heavyweight that moves like that. But also his IQ in the ring and his just overall boxing ability. What he can do to other guys in the ring is just amazing. He did it with Vladimir Klitschko. How he just took him out of his game plan. He frustrated him. He kept him guessing the whole time. Vladimir didn't exactly know what he was going to do. He didn't know if it was going to be a combination. He didn't know if he was going to jab. He didn't know if he was just going to keep moving. And he was frustrating him. He does that a lot. He tricked Deontay Wilder with that. That's just what he does. He's really confident in the ring. And he's slick. That's another thing for his size, to elude punches so well and just slide and slip and have punches kind of graze him, not touch him. You see that a lot with smaller fighters, but you don't see that with heavyweights. Either they're going to move completely out of the way or they're going to just eat a shot to give you a shot. But Tyson can literally be there and just kind of shift his weight just a little bit, just so he can stay in position so he can return fire. Like I said, that's some veteran type stuff right there. But it's also little guy stuff. And like I said, for his size to be doing things like that, it's just amazing and awesome to watch. Now, that being said about Tyson, I'm going to go back to AJ. Why I think AJ has more of a chance than what people are giving him. I think people are just thinking that AJ, being the AJ of old, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm just going to muscle you down, and I'm just going to press straight forward. However, with Andy, AJ showed that he can keep a game plan and he can stay mobile. Now, by doing that, that means that he can not only keep up with Tyson all rounds, because Tyson has a lot of cardio, but he can stay disciplined enough to have a game plan and not be frustrated with what Tyson is presenting to him for all these rounds. So do I think AJ could beat Tyson Fury? Absolutely. And I'm not just going on power. Now, when we go to the department of power, clearly AJ wins in that department all day long. When we go on finishing ability, yes, Tyson did beat Deontay Wilder. But however, I mean, in all fairness, I have to say this. He outweighed him by like 50 pounds. So it's not like the hardest thing in the world to do when you're that much bigger than another guy to put him down. But with AJ's going to come in rock solid. He's going to come in big and strong. And so that weight difference is not going to translate as well. So it's going to really come down to Tyson's elusiveness and his ring IQ, his ability to keep AJ guessing. But AJ can take a punch, contrary to what a lot of people think about him, especially after his bout with Ruiz. He can take a punch. He's been hit several times by some pretty hard hitters, and he stood his ground. I mean, Dillian White hit him, and Dillian White can crack. So when I break this down, I'm sorry, I have to give it to Anthony Joshua. Now, I will be looking at this more as it progresses, like in terms of when they figure out which venue they're gonna use and what location in terms of country they're gonna be at, things of that nature. I will be looking at their training camps. I will be seeing how they look physically, and I will also pay attention to their interviews, just to see where their minds are at. Because a lot of times you can tell a lot about what might happen in a fight just by a guy's interview. And it'll let you know kind of where he's at mentally. And more times than not, you'll find that if that interview, the guy in the interview isn't in sync with the guy who shows up in the ring, it's probably not the result that they expect to see. But you guys tell me what you think. Drop a comment down below. And as always, like and subscribe.